It's round number 7 recap. I was playing against 1969 Leon Xu. He is born in 2010. Once again, my kids tournament continues as I haven't played anyone born after 2006. And white pieces, I saw that he plays French defense, and I knew that he is probably going to prepare Vinaver with bishop b4. So if you check my previous recaps of the previous tournament, which was Gatineau Open, I also saw that my opponent plays Vinaver, and I decided to surprise him with knight to2, and I did the same thing with Leon Xu. So my point was that I just want him to get out of prep, but he played next couple of moves fairly quickly, despite my game from Gatineau Open not being in database. I mean, he knew something here, so d takes e4, a3 takes, knight goes to c6, and now I go bishop f4. And this is where he started thinking, where he started spending some time, not a lot. And again, I felt he's out of prep. Knight f6 is good. And for bishop b5, he goes for castle. Castle seems very, very logical. But what my opponent played in Gatineau Open was knight d5. And I took, and I think I played something like queen d2. Or I played bishop g3. Yes, and bishop g3 turned out to be a huge mistake. I should instead go for bishop d2, and after takes, I keep a small advantage. So bishop b5, he goes castle, and now I take on c6, takes, go queen d2, which is best. I didn't know it was best, but after the game I was like yeah, I'm actually good. And after knight d5, I didn't play the best move. The best move here is long castle. I'm not sure why I didn't play this move. I was worried about different stuff. I was maybe even thinking what if f5 is happening, but bishop b5, knight e7, knight goes to g6, h4, knight g6, and I have simple queen e3, and apparently I'm doing great just because this bishop is terrible. My knight is a lot better, potentially knight a4, knight c5, maybe h6 ideas. So I have some plans. I also have f3, then takes, and then attack on g5, but I decided not to go for it, instead go bishop g3, and now he go bishop a6, which, I mean, I was surprised about, because according to the computer, it's a huge blunder. So what happens after f5? After f5, I just plan to go bishop b5, and again after knight e7, go for something like h4, or how computer thinks this, knight g6, and knight a4. And just because this bishop is super terrible, I'm doing fine, despite being down a pawn. But look at this double pawns, look at this double pawns, I think I have compensation, huge compensation. So bishop goes to g3, bishop a6, and now I take on e4. His idea was to play f5, f4, but after f5, with f4 idea, I go knight c5, attacking the bishop on a6 first. And after f4, I just take the bishop, and it cannot be attacked. If takes, I'm actually doing fine. I'm up a pawn. The position is completely winning. So knight e4, knight b6, and now knight jumps to c5. Now bishop has to get back, basically. Bishop c8. There were some lines with the queen c8, but I think after queen a5, I'm just doing fantastic. If bishop c4, I think b3, and bishop d5, f3, and we're just continuing restricting this bishop e5. Now black have to give up a pawn, d takes e5, queen f5, and now I can just simply go long castle. The position is completely winning. So bishop c8, castle, queen e7. So according to the computer, the best was actually to castle long, but I thought that short castle is good as well. Queen e7, rook e1, a5, a4. Just so a5 is played with the idea to push a4, and then there are like some counterplay against this b2 a3 setup. So I neutralized it by playing a4. After rook d8, I spent a lot of time thinking here and played not the best move, but queen f4. I also thought of knight b3, but I just thought that this doesn't give me anything. I just thought that, alright, I mean, c5, and what I'm gonna do. Like if knight a5, there is rook d4, and knight c6, there is rook d2, knight e7. Some of the lines I spent thinking about is something along, let's say, I think it was b3 and then queen c5 takes, Or maybe, not here, not here. But okay, let's get back to business. So queen f4, I honestly expected knight e5 to happen on the board, and I plan to go, I'm not sure. So I spent a lot of time thinking here, because I tried to find the best like moves against this knight e5. I first looked at queen f4, then I looked at queen f3, knight b4, and then queen f4, because now if f5 I just take on f5. But computer thinks it's still good for, not necessarily good, but it's fine position. So queen f5, rook d4, that could have happened, but rook a7 was played instead on the board. So rook a1, rook d5, I go b3, trying to play c4 at some point, and he goes queen f6, offering me a queen trade. I just go back, and he goes rook h5 with the knight d5 idea, so I immediately played c4. And as you might see on the left side, and by looking at the evil bar, the evaluations, of course, completely winning for white pieces. So, I mean, it's a great position, honestly. But I spent a lot of time thinking, and my position is so winning that I had a wide choice of options, and I didn't find the best one. So here, for some reason, knight d3 is just winning almost by force, because I have knight f4, and eventually it's either this or this rook. This rook has to step out, and then I take on c7. If I take on c7, the game over, basically. Even if I don't take it, the game is still over. I have knight e5 ideas, I have knight f4 ideas, just some lines, bishop d7, h3, h6, knight f4, and now rook is basically trapped. Or rook h6, trying to get rook to g6, knight e5, rook b7, rook d3, bishop e8, bishop f4, and now bishop g5, and once again the rook is trapped the same way. So I go knight e4. And after h6, I decided to go for something more exciting, because I spent a lot of time calculating it, and I was like, okay. Because I spent a lot of time thinking about knight e4, and knight e4, I want to potentially, switch knight and bishop and get knight to g3, h6, and I played bishop c7, which is a mistake. So I calculated a concrete line here, which apparently doesn't work. I still have a huge advantage, as you might see, but the way I played it is absolutely terrible. So rook c7, knight g3, queen g5, takes, and now I go d5. d5 attacking the knight on b6. So I took the pawn on c7 just to make sure this knight is not protected and have this d5 push. So this d5. Now every move other than c5 loses immediately, so c5 is pretty much forced. And now I just couldn't find a good follow-up. I played king d2, and I thought that I'm completely winning, because I either take on a5, or let's say if rook goes this way, then there's d takes a6, and I just win due to queen d8 on the next move. So I was like, I was very happy. I'm like, yes, I started celebrating the win. But little did I know that after he takes d5, I can't take, because I started calculating takes d5, queen a5, queen g6, and suddenly if I take here, bishop h3, and suddenly something terrible is about to happen. It looks scary, like I have to play this, and now queen h5, and queen comes this way, or potentially this way. So it was insanely unpleasant. Now I have to get to the endgame, which I don't think is that good, and black don't even have to go to this endgame. They don't have to play queen f3, they can go rook c8 and then try to threaten it. So it might get very unpleasant. So I started panicking a little bit, because I had no time. I spent a lot of time calculating this line, and it turned out that queen d2 doesn't work. What could work is actually d takes a6, which I spent time calculating, but after bishop e6 I just didn't find queen f4, and looks like I'm completely winning. Rook d7 now is a suggestion offered by computer, but after queen b8, king h7, and then rook c1, it turns out that this knight is lost. It is just lost on this beautiful b6 square, and there is nothing that black can do. If rook goes anywhere else, let's say b7, rook d8, king h7, queen f4, and now I win a rook. So if rook a7, queen b8, so all I had to find is that after queen f4, rook d7 doesn't work. Rook c8, there is rook d6, knight a8, and h3, and simply pieces are not getting out. That's the best defense. If rook e7, once again, there's queen b8, and then I can... Oh, now it doesn't work. Rook d8, king h7, and now queen d6. Attacking the rook and attacking the knight. And if rook goes to b7, then queen c6, attacking once again. And this is about to get messy, and white will win. But queen d2, e takes d5, and I was so frustrated. I took on d5, and now bishop b7, trying to take the pawn on d5. I go queen a5, knight d5, and now f3, the best move. And at that point it seemed like I have some chances, still some chances. I'm not playing well, I know, but still, you know, gotta press him a little bit, queen a7, and now the best defense was bishop c6, actually sacrificing this pawn on c5, but he lets me play queen d7. And now once again I started thinking, okay, I'm probably completely winning, because I calculated rook f8, rook e8, and I was like, how do you even protect like rook f8? But then knight b6, and after rook e8, I thought takes, king h7, and then a5, there is bishop f3. And it's winning for white, but I just want to show you what my thinking process was. And I was like, I'm not sure about this position. I started maybe calculating even this, but there is bishop g2, and now it's a draw, because if bishop d1, I think there is b7, and I promote the queen and win the game. But there is bishop g2 threatening to take, and if b7, there's just, it's just completely winning. Queen d5, queen b7, game over. So yes, I still needed to be precise. I calculated, I was like, okay, I'm good. But now he plays king h7, and now queen goes to d3. So there is like this line, let's say takes f5, but of course doesn't work because rook e5. But there's just like some visual tricks that black can have. But of course here after bishop e4, I can just play rook e4 just to make sure there are no... So that was... I kind of calculate, let's say something bad happens, but yeah, 5 is of course the best move. Nobody will give up this bishop, takes, and now I go g4. I'm trying to get to the endgame as soon as possible. I spent some time calculating this, queen f5, king g8, and now king f2. That's exactly what I calculated, and that's the best line according to the computer. And somehow I'm keeping all my pawns, I'm keeping the advantage, should be good. So queen goes to g6, I took on f5, and at that point I kind of realized that I should be winning. I calculated briefly this line, knight e7, f6, and I was like, okay, I'm winning here for sure. Bishop f3, rook d8, I'm winning in exchange. So that was not an option, but of course there is something else. He goes knight e7, takes, and now I go rook c1, attacking the pawn on c5. King f2 was slightly more precise, but I just didn't like this for some reason. a6. Oh, and now just gives up and promote, but didn't need it. So rook c1, rook bishop d5, rook c5, bishop b3, a5, and I thought I should be winning, but he defended pretty well. So bishop d5, king f2, king f6, a6, king a6, a7. Now I'm threatening to take on d5 and go a8, bishop a8, rook b5. And honestly, I thought I'm completely winning because knight c6, rook b8. What I missed is that there's still knight d5, rook b8, knight c7, and despite this looking ugly, it's still kind of holdable for black. Of course, completely losing, but yeah, I go rook c8. The easiest way to win this game was to play rook g8, attacking the pawn on g7, and if king f7, now I go rook c8, attacking this and this one. The game is just over. And if, let's say, pawn goes to g5, I can even play rook g6 and then take on h6. Like, I don't even need to worry about anything in this case, because I eventually play h4, I'll create 2 passed pawns and win. But I decided to make some trouble for myself. I go rook c8, rook b8, bishop d5, f4. I started pushing the pawns, brought the king to e5, h4, knight c7, g5, takes. And at that point I felt like I'm completely winning. Still some accuracy required, because you never know. Rook c8, knight a8, rook h8, knight b6, rook h7, king f8, g6. And I was like, okay, should be, this pawn is about to fall. He goes king g8, and now after rook h3, I finally felt some relief. Bishop d5, rook d3, and he resigned. Because I'm either going to take this and then promote, or there's nothing else can be done. Bishop b7, rook d8 is a checkmate. So it is a win. Good for me. Back-to-back wins in round 6 and 7. Go check out the recap of round number 6 that was released yesterday. As far as accuracy goes, let's check quickly. It's 92.8 against 84.2. So yes, when opponents give me chances, I'm tempted to use them. Even though, again, not a very good game by me. Could have been better. I mean, allowed him some chances to come back, but then again, he blundered. So that's good. 2 blunders. You can see 2500 rating performance, 2250 from my opponent. Yeah, it is what it is. In round number 8, I'm playing against candidate master Kusha Jafarian. It will be released tomorrow. Go check that out. And that's it from me for today. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you had fun seeing this roller coaster. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye.